the way I would.
What's going on, guys? Grickfreak here, and in this video we're going to be talking about something as far as what the rookies picked in their surveys. And one of the things that they picked, which caught me by surprise, would be the fact that they thought Cam Reddish was going to be the best player from this year's draft class. Now, from that, I'm very much amazed. He was, of course, notably as the third player on Duke, and really, to me, he seemed to be underachieving from the standards of what he was to be expecting. Now, I can understand the fact that his numbers maybe not being good as far as his totals, as far as per game, if he was in a spot where he felt that he needed to defer off to Zion or to Barrett. But in a situation like this, his efficiency should have been better, which was not in this case. So as you can see, here's his stats from his college year at Duke, and right here we see 13.5 points per game. Not really that great of a rebounder with 3.7 rebounds, 1.9 steals per game, so he could be a very good defensive player, and 1.6 blocks per game. So he was definitely a decent defensive player for the college level. But here is where the problem comes in. Now, the 77% free throw shooting, I don't really care too much. I think he can improve upon that and become better. The 33% from the free throw, from the three-point line, isn't that big of a deal as well, but that 35.6% from the field is really a problem, which means the fact that outside of the three-point line, he really didn't show much higher standard as far as shooting an efficient shot. Now, of course, when you're in the NBA, you're going to be even facing tougher defensive schemes, better players, more athletic. So in a situation like this, you would want to see him at least put up pretty decent numbers when it comes to rebounding the basketball. Assist-wise, we don't have to expect too much from him. But whenever we look at some other things in this, we definitely know the fact that he could easily improve upon the three-point shooting, despite the fact I don't think his rookie year will be that good three-point shooting-wise, since there, of course, is the adjustment to the NBA three-point line, which most players just shoot around the range shot of the college level. So whenever we look at something like this, I thought it was amazing as far as the thought process from the rookies, that they thought Cam Reddish would be having the best career out of everybody in the draft class that was, especially considering, of course, the hype that's going around Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, and even RJ Barrett. So in a situation like this, I thought it was pretty shocking that he did end up winning it. Now, of course, Ja Morant did end up with second place in the voting as well, which, of course, like I stated, it's not directly that I'm expecting one specific person to have been the best player, or the fact that there was a consensus best player that I expect the rookies to have picked. But in a situation like this, I thought with the numbers that somebody like Cam Reddish had put up, I didn't think the fact that he put up anything or showed me anything that showed me that he's going to have this spectacular career in the NBA. So to me, that just caught me a little bit by surprise when it comes down to it. Now, I'm not sitting here saying the fact that he's going to be a bust or anything. I thought the fact that Atlanta did pretty good as far as where he had dropped off to, and they had a very good drafting class in this year. So whenever we look at something like this, I think the fact that he has the ability to do this. Now, of course, in a situation like this, I think the fact that many people are going to be looking, of course, at one player when it comes to what they expect as far as who to be the best player in this draft, which is due to the hype, which would be, of course, Zion Williamson. Now, with somebody like that, I, of course, will have to go over what I also think is going to hold back somebody like Cam Reddish. Now, of course, when you're talking about it, the Eastern Conference, of course, has been the weaker conference out of the two for quite some time now. But in a situation like this, I think that the Eastern Conference definitely has the chances of coming back up and, of course, being at least equal to the Western Conference as far as in the upcoming years with the things that are happening now. Of course, I don't expect it to happen this year due to the fact of the injuries that had happened and the fact that the players that will be missing in the Eastern Conference, or at least will not be 100% coming to the due in time of the next year. So with that, I think the fact that they will have a harder conference to really work with in comparison to past years, the fact that the Atlanta Hawks have not really been known for attracting free agents at all, and the fact that we don't know of a good history of them drafting well for a long period of time or anything like that. So it's going to be tough to see how they definitely build around somebody like Cam Reddish and Trae Young and see how that really works out in the long run. But in this other situation, of course, we're going to look at other players as well whenever it comes to what they're going to have around them in comparison to what Cam Reddish is going to have to work with. Now, of course, they did also pick Zion Williamson to win the Rookie of the Year, which means the fact that they're obviously expecting Zion to get to a better head start than Cam Reddish. But they're obviously expecting that Cam Reddish is going to do better over time rather than Zion Williamson. Now, this is the one thing that I do think, though. Zion Williamson, to me, will always have a pretty decent team that he'll be playing with, in the example of this right here. Now, despite the fact that the Pelicans have not been very well known as far as keeping their talent happy as far as an Anthony Davis situation, they did end up getting one of the better GMs in David Griffin, who is able to me, get whoever he wants whenever it comes to the satisfaction of a player as far as building around things and getting those special pieces that maybe Zion would want to work with. Now, of course, I do have to mention the fact that I don't believe the fact that David Griffin has done a really great job as far as drafting in many considerations, considering the fact that despite the fact, yes, he did end up drafting the players in Kyrie Irving and, of course, Andrew Wiggins before he ended up trading him. Of course, those were the number one overall picks, so therefore it wasn't much to pick from. So I have to see how he does as far as drafting in later rounds, as far as seeing that. But as far as what I'm seeing, their talent that they have right now, I really am thinking the fact that it's very decent talent. I think it's good enough for Zion to, of course, extend out his playing ways. And another thing is the fact that I think that Zion Williamson is a better all-around player as far as what he'll be able to do statistically. As I showed you before with a player such as Cam Reddish's talents, he did not have really outstanding rebounding numbers or anything else other than on the defensive end, which in a situation like Zion, we know the fact that he is a good rebounder. He has great vertical leap to be able to get rebounds. He's a pretty good passer for his size, so I don't think the fact he'll be a high-end assist player, but I think the fact he'll be able to have a decent 4 to 5 assists a game type of player, where I have to see if Cam Reddish actually develops that into his game, especially considering the fact that he'll have a main point guard that's going to be holding the basketball in somebody like Trae Young. So we'll have to see how that really works out in that standard. Now, with the players such as Zion, I expect the fact that they'll most likely have him even handling the ball at situations, despite the fact that they will have somebody in Lonzo as well to be playing there. So we're going to have to see how it really works out for these players, how directly the talent's going to mold around them, who's going to have better team success, who's going to have better as far as individual success. So we're going to have to see how that really works out there. But of course, like I mentioned, there's plenty of other players in this league that from that draft class that could, of course, become the best player in that draft. And I'm not saying the fact that it's impossible for Cam Reddish. I'm just saying the fact that I don't directly see it likely. But guys, of course, as always, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do you think the fact that Cam Reddish will be it, or who do you think is going to be the best player in this year's draft? And as always, leave it in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe to become part of the Greek Army today. And